They never saw you coming. Not because you were hiding, but because their vision was too small to comprehend what you were about to become. You weren't built for their approval, and you damn sure weren't made to blend in. You are the outlier, the anomaly, the one they whispered about behind closed doors. They mock what they don't understand, fear what they can't control, and resist what they can't replicate. But none of that matters now, because the game has changed, and you didn't just break the rules, you rewrote them. This isn't for the ones who settle. This isn't for the ones who need permission. This is for those who felt the weight of rejection and turned it into rocket fuel. For the ones who were told they were too much, but knew deep down they weren't even close to unleashing their full power. The world wasn't ready, but it doesn't matter anymore. Because ready or not, here you are. Every step forward is a warning shot. Every win is a reminder. They were never prepared for you. They called you delusional, but the only thing unreal was their ability to comprehend what you were destined to do. Their doubts, nothing but background noise. Their disbelief, just another statistic in your inevitable rise. This is your moment. Take it, own it, and make damn sure they never forget it. The world does not change through mere words, but through action, through the relentless force of those who refuse to accept the limits imposed upon them. Where others hesitate, you advance, and where resistance rises, it is not an obstacle, but a catalyst. The weight of existence does not press upon you. It pivots around your will. When uncertainty looms, it does not smother you, it separates. Strength is not something stumbled upon. It is honed through inevitability. The cosmos does not murmur in your ear. It thunders in your bones. Each step you take is a tremor in the fabric of reality. Each choice, a reckoning. Adversity is not an opponent. It is the kindling that fuels your ascension. Chaos does not dictate the course of events. It bends to the force of transformation. To seek victory is to misunderstand it. It is not a goal to reach, but a state of being. Doubt is a weight that binds those unwilling to break free. But to you, it is nothing more than the remnants of a past discarded. The moment potential becomes action, the world shifts, and the voices that once questioned you fade into insignificance. This is not about proving anything to those who never believed. It is about the immutable truth that has always existed within. You are not molded by circumstance. You carve reality itself. Fate is not a rigid script. It is clay, yielding to the hands that dare to shape it. The noise of disbelief is drowned beneath the echoes of triumph. Your journey is not a road to walk, but a force to unleash. Every struggle, every challenge is not a barrier. It is evidence of an unbreakable will. Opposition does not stand against you. It bears witness to the force of your rise. Darkness is not an adversary. It is a space upon which you etch your legend, stroke by stroke, moment by moment. Victory is not something external to be obtained. It is the fabric of your existence, woven into every moment. The universe does not merely recognize you, it is rewritten by you. This is not about survival. It is about reconstruction. Adversity did not break you. It was the foundation upon which something unshakable was built. Every loss, every betrayal, every moment designed to bring you to your knees was not the end. It was the catalyst that refined the unyielding force you have become. The weight of hardship was never senseless. It was precision, sculpting something unrelenting from the raw stone of struggle. You were set apart before you even had the words to name the battle you were prepared to wage. The trials you endured were not random. They were a calling. There have always been those chosen before they understood their purpose, those thrown into fire before they knew they were steel. those cast into obscurity before they emerged as something unstoppable. The world does not shape those who refuse to be confined by it. It is reshaped by them. Paths carved by struggle are not fragile. They are shaped by the relentless pressure of opposition. When others dismissed potential, an unseen force prepared its rise. This is the cycle that repeats. The overlooked transformed, the castaways set on a course beyond imagination, the forgotten rising beyond expectation. Hardship was never a denial. It was an inscription of resilience. Each mark left behind was not evidence of defeat, but a testament to endurance. The forces that sought to diminish, to erase, to render insignificant, failed with every attempt. Those who wished for silence witnessed instead an unstoppable ascent. Not through luck, not by mere endurance, but because resilience does not yield, it overcomes. And when the final move is made, it is not against those who doubted. It is delivered by the very force they sought to suppress. The storm was not a force of destruction, but a trial that stripped away all illusions, leaving only what was indomitable. What was once dismissed as impossible was simply the inevitable taking form. Skeptics mistook ambition for recklessness, vision for foolishness, and their mockery was not a verdict. It was an unintentional admission of their own limitations. Their disbelief was never about the one they doubted. It was a reflection of what they could never conceive for themselves. The weight of their judgment did not crush, but refined, hardening resolve in the crucible of their own uncertainty. Every assumption they made, every prediction of failure, did not obstruct progress. It was the force that sharpened it. Insecurity does not belong to those who defy expectations. It lingers with those who never dare to step beyond them. Fear does not only manifest in hesitation, it thrives in the voices that try to confine others to the same constraints. To be different was never a disadvantage. It was the foundation of an unshakable identity. Those who scorned were not observers of failure, but prisoners of sameness. Their ridicule was not a truth to accept, but a veil that concealed their own apprehensions. The opinions they cast were not obstacles to be feared. They were stepping stones, lifting ambition beyond their reach. The distance between those who rise and those who remain is not measured in skill, but in the willingness to embrace the unknown. Their unity was not strength, it was the weight of conformity, binding them to mediocrity. Where they hesitated, forward motion was inevitable. They did not misunderstand potential, they feared its consequences. The quiet they once demanded was silenced by the undeniable force of progress. They underestimated not due to a lack of awareness, but because their frame of reference could not comprehend boundlessness. Now, they do not dismiss. They observe in disbelief, not as critics, but as witnesses to something beyond their own reach. Possibility is not given. It is taken, molded, and wielded by those who refuse to be measured by another's limits. Ideas do not remain weightless abstractions. They carve themselves into reality through unshakable intent. What begins as a flicker of thought grows into an unstoppable presence, reshaping everything it touches. The process is invisible to those who lack the perception to grasp it, but its impact is undeniable. Change is not something awaited, it is something initiated. The boundaries of what is possible are dictated not by external forces, but by the will that dares to challenge them. To those without vision, the results may seem inexplicable, but there is no mystery, only alignment with a deeper principle. This is not the bending of rules, but the fulfillment of an order that has always existed. Others may marvel at what unfolds, unaware of the silent forces at play, the unseen currents moving beneath the surface. What appears miraculous to some is simply the natural extension of a force fully realized. There is no need for validation, no desire for permission. The course is not random, it is deliberate. The world does not descend into disorder. It synchronizes with the rhythm of those who refuse to falter. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $20 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118:22. They cast you aside like a scrap piece of wood, never realizing you were the foundation being prepared for something greater. They looked at you like an empty vessel, not understanding you were being hollowed out to be filled with purpose. What they mistook for failure was just the pruning before the bloom, the sharpening before the strike. They thought they buried you, but they didn't know you were a seed. Storms don't destroy the oak. They teach its roots how to dig deeper. Fire doesn't consume the gold. It refines it. Pressure doesn't crush the diamond. It shapes it into something that cannot be ignored. The trials that were meant to break you did nothing but burn away the excess, leaving only what was strong enough to endure. Hardship was never a punishment. It was a process. It wasn't meant to diminish you. It was meant to distill you down to your purest, most unshakable self. Every loss, every setback, every moment that had you on your knees wasn't the universe forsaking you. It was the preparation for the rise that no one saw coming. History doesn't celebrate the comfortable. It honors the ones who refuse to surrender. Every closed door wasn't a rejection. It was a redirection. Every detour wasn't a delay. It was a divine reroute to something better than you even imagined. Moses had to walk through the wilderness before he could part the sea. Joseph had to sit in a prison before he could rule a kingdom. The chosen ones are never handed their destiny. They are shaped by the fire, refined by the weight, and prepared in the shadows. The world never sees it coming, but God always did. They doubted you, laughed at you, called you foolish for believing in what they couldn't see. But let me tell you something. They don't get the final say. They never did. Because what they mocked, heaven ordained. What they dismissed, the Most High preserved. You were never built for ordinary things, so stop expecting an ordinary path. Those who are called to build kingdoms, shift atmospheres, and break generational chains do not get the luxury of an easy road. If you've been wondering why your journey has been so different, why the weight has been heavier, why the battle has been so relentless, it's because you're carrying something that this world has never seen before. They don't hate you because you're weak. They fear you because they know you're strong. They resist you because they sense you were sent here to shake things up. They don't attack the ones who are going nowhere. They target the ones who are about to rise. So let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them think they've won. Because what they don't realize is that you're just getting started. Everything that tried to break you is about to regret that it ever came for you. Because when you step into what was meant for you, when you walk in your anointing, when you take your rightful place, every battle, every wound, every scar will no longer be proof of your struggle, but of your victory. And they will have no choice but to watch. Those cast aside did not fade into obscurity. They became architects of something unimaginable, not because they were spared hardship, but because they refused to be defined by it. They were not deterred by dismissal. They reshaped the narrative. Those who once doubted now watch, no longer with disdain, but with recognition, their skepticism replaced by silent acknowledgement. What was underestimated has become undeniable. Every voice that once spoke of limits now falls quiet in the presence of something that defied them all. You are here for a reason. If you feel the call, answer it. Click Join to unlock exclusive content, deep insights, and a powerful community. This isn't just a membership, it's an awakening. Step into your divine purpose. Join the chosen. The attention once withheld now lingers, not as dismissal, but as reluctant recognition. This is not resentment. It is silent realization, a reckoning with the presence they once ignored. The force that was overlooked is now undeniable, the movement unstoppable. Their fascination is not admiration. It is confrontation with their own underestimation. They are not fixated on you. They are grappling with their own disbelief, forced to witness the proof of what they once rejected. Their silence is not absence. It is confirmation. Their eyes follow, not out of concern, but because they cannot look away. Progress is its own signal, drawing attention even from those who never intended to acknowledge it. Carry it with the certainty of someone who does not seek approval, but commands respect through presence alone. Their opinions hold no weight against momentum. Their scrutiny no consequence to forward motion. Explanations are not owed. Validation is not required. The focus remains fixed on what lies ahead, untouched by those still tethered to hesitation. They may watch, they may question, but they will never dictate the course. Movement is not dictated by those who stand still. The path does not bend to meet the gaze of spectators. And in time, their voices, their doubts, their distractions will fade into the distance, eclipsed by the magnitude of what is being built. This moment is not for those who do not understand it. It is for those who feel its weight, who recognize its pull. Those who were told to blend in, but never could. Those who see beyond the surface. Those who refuse to be bound by the limits of convention. They do not walk a path already paved. They forge their own, cutting through the noise, breaking apart illusions, moving with a force that does not seek recognition, but demands it by its very nature. They do not follow because they were never meant to. While the world spins in repetition, they step outside its rhythm. Not for validation, not for applause, but because there was never another choice. This is for those who take what was meant to break them and forge something beyond measure. The ones who hold wisdom that was not taught but earned. What others attempt to replicate cannot be imitated. Their attempts at reproduction are not acts of creativity, but reflections of uncertainty, a longing to capture what they cannot cultivate on their own. They do not admire, they fear. Their imitation is not a tribute, but an admission, revealing what they lack, exposing what they will never grasp. The fire that fuels creation cannot be borrowed, it must be built from within. They may copy the surface, but they will never wield the substance. To mimic is not to master. What they seek to claim is beyond their reach, not because it is guarded, but because it cannot be transferred. Influence is not in the motion, it is in the origin. Let them chase, let them fumble, let them attempt to take what they do not understand. Their efforts are not a threat, but a reminder of what cannot be manufactured. The original does not compete with the counterfeit, it simply outlasts it. While their imitations gather dust, the force that set the standard will continue forward, untouchable. The brilliance that radiates cannot be replicated. It is not borrowed, nor can it be dimmed. Others may attempt to follow the trail, but they will never stand where you stand. The force that drives you forward is not theirs to claim, it is yours alone. And as it expands, the difference between authenticity and imitation becomes undeniable. The presence that was once overlooked now commands attention, not through noise, but through undeniable impact. The ground shifts, the air hums, something beyond the ordinary is in motion. It was never a question of whether the world would take notice. It was only a matter of when. What moves through you is not coincidence. It is intention, woven into reality. The unseen forces at play are not gifts handed down. They are calls to action. This is not randomness. It is precision, alignment with something far greater than chance. Signs appear, not because they are sought, but because they are recognized. The world is not simply observed. It is shaped by those who listen to its quiet invitations, those who understand that purpose is not a destination, but a current that pulls forward, guiding the relentless toward a truth that cannot be denied. The opinions of others hold no weight against the certainty that burns within. Direction does not require permission. Paths are not paved by consensus. The moment the fire within is trusted over the noise outside, hesitation crumbles. This is not arrogance, it is certainty. There is no need to convince, no need to explain. The journey is not about validation, it is about the unfolding of something inevitable. When the choice is made to embrace what has always been known, doubt dissolves, replaced by a force that cannot be contained. The breaking point was not the end, it was the beginning. It was never destruction, it was a clearing of everything that was not meant to remain. The weight of struggle, the nights spent wondering if the tide would ever turn, were not punishments, but initiations. The setbacks were not barriers, they were adjustments, carving resilience into unshakable certainty. What was once a burden became a foundation. The world did not conspire against. Rather, it refined, shaping endurance into mastery, turning scarcity into a lesson rather than a sentence. The shift was never external, it began within. The moment lack was seen not as limitation, but as an illusion. Everything changed. Wealth was never just a number, it was an alignment, a recognition that abundance is not something to be chased, but something to be claimed. The chains were never tangible. They existed only in the mind, waiting to be shattered by the realization that nothing was ever truly out of reach. The transformation was never a miracle, it was a decision. The energy shifted, and with it, the path to prosperity opened, not as a gift, but as a reflection of the unwavering will that refused to yield. Success is not a trophy to be displayed, it is a force to be lived. The struggles once seen as limitations are now the proof of what was always possible. Every gain is a testament, not to luck, but to effort, vision, and the refusal to accept anything less than the full realization of potential. Prosperity is not simply financial, it is freedom, it is movement, it is the undeniable mark of someone who has stepped into the fullness of what was always theirs to claim. Wealth is more than material gain, it is a state of being, a depth of spirit that cannot be quantified. The world may measure success in numbers, but true abundance is found in the unshakable certainty of self-worth. There is no longer a need to seek validation, no more waiting for permission to take up space. The weight of external expectations has crumbled, leaving behind only the clarity of purpose. This is not arrogance, it is liberation. The moment dependence on approval was abandoned, a new kind of freedom was born, one where happiness is no longer conditional, but absolute. There is no need to perform, no need to shrink for the comfort of others. Identity is no longer a fragile concept shaped by outside voices, but a solid foundation, unmovable. Cutting ties with what drained, with what stifled, was never an act of cruelty. It was an act of survival. The absence of their influence was not a loss, but an opening, a clearing where peace could finally take root. Their departure did not create emptiness. It allowed space for something greater. The echoes of old expectations no longer dictate movement. What remains is a light, untarnished by compromise. Reclamation is not about regaining what was taken. It is about realizing that nothing was ever truly lost. Happiness is not a trade to be negotiated, nor is self-worth a prize to be earned through acceptance. The voices of the world will always whisper, always attempt to define, but their words have no power where conviction stands firm. This is not just a moment of realization. It is an act of defiance against every expectation that sought to confine. The greatest revolution is not in defying the world, but in refusing to be shaped by it. Completion was never something to be chased. It was always within reach. Victory was never about defeating others. It was about mastering the inner battles, the quiet wars fought in the depths of uncertainty. Each scar tells a story, not of pain, but of transformation. Growth is not measured by milestones, but by the strength gained through experience, the depth of understanding, the unwavering clarity of direction. The past does not define. It refines, shaping something unbreakable. This is not the end of a journey, but the beginning of one with no limits. True power is not found in conquest. It is found in balance. Strength does not need to be declared. It is felt. It does not seek to overshadow. It seeks to illuminate. Mastery is not about control. It is about knowing when to lead and when to let go. Those who truly hold power do not wield it for display. They embody it, moving with certainty, lifting others in the process. There is nothing to prove, only a presence to live. The light is not just for personal triumph. It is a force that touches everything in its path. Vindication is not found in proving the doubters wrong. It is found in the undeniable reality of success. The past whispers its challenges, but the present stands as the only response necessary. The shift was never about seeking acknowledgement. It was about becoming something that could no longer be ignored. The results are no longer theories. They are undeniable. The tables have turned, and the story no longer belongs to those who underestimated. What was once dismissed has become undeniable. What was once questioned now stands as truth. Doubt never had the power to hold back what was always destined to rise. Every assumption they made, every limitation they projected, has been left in the dust of your ascent. The weight of their skepticism was never a burden. It was fuel, igniting something unstoppable. They never saw it coming, but the shift was never about their vision. It was about yours. This isn't a coincidence. It's not fortune smiling in your favor. It's the direct result of every choice, every sacrifice, every refusal to accept anything less than what was meant to be yours. The system wasn't just navigated, it was rewritten. What once confined is now obsolete. Momentum is no longer something sought, it is something commanded. There is no turning away now. The presence that was once overlooked now dominates, not through volume, but through undeniable force. It isn't about proving anything anymore, it's about existing in a space where doubt has no place. Every step forward is amplified, every move an echo that reverberates far beyond its point of origin. The whispers of uncertainty have been replaced by the undeniable sound of impact. This is no longer just a story of perseverance. It is a roadmap, a testament, a declaration that the impossible was never out of reach. The stage is yours. The silence that once surrounded your efforts has turned into an audience that can no longer ignore what is unfolding. This isn't just a milestone. It's a shift in the very foundation of what they thought was possible. Let them watch. Let them take notes. Let them attempt to understand something that was never meant for them. The sound of your success is not just heard, it is felt. And as it continues to build, there is no question left to answer. The era has arrived, and the only direction left to move is forward.